Ladies, I hate to be the one to say this, but is that you? Have you ever been in the middle of your day, maybe in the middle of a conversation or while running errands, and thought, what's that smell? Now, don't freak out just yet. I'm not talking about that fresh perfume you love, or that pleasant hint of flowers you sometimes catch when you walk into your favorite café. No, I'm talking about that smell we don't always talk about. The one that can sneak up on us as we get older and make us smell, well, a little older. I know it's not the most glamorous thing to discuss, but let's face it, we've all been there. If you're nodding your head right now, then trust me, you're not alone. And the good news? It's not your fault. The reality is, some of the hair products we've been using for years are causing us to smell older than we really are. Yes, really. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Those innocent-looking products you've been slathering on your hair, not realizing they're the ones responsible for that slightly musty, stale smell creeping up on you. Now, I don't know about you, but hairspray and I go way back. From big nights out to the daily routine, I've relied on hairspray to hold my curls in place or keep my style intact throughout the day. It's an old friend, right? But here's the thing I learned the hard way. It's not always the best friend. One day I was at a family gathering when my niece, bless her heart, came in for a hug. She leaned in close and I felt a slight wrinkling of her nose. It wasn't dramatic or anything, but it was enough for me to notice. I asked her, "Sweetheart, is everything okay?" And with all the honesty only a 10-year-old can deliver, she said, "Auntie, your hair smells funny." Cue the panic. I rushed to the bathroom, and sure enough, there it was. My hair looked fine, but when I sniffed it closely, I could smell something, well, off. That's when I realized. It wasn't the shampoo or the conditioner I had just used. It was the hairspray. Now, I'm not saying hairspray is bad. It's a lifesaver when you're in a rush. But here's the issue. Hairspray, especially the strong-hold kind we tend to lean on, can lock in a lot more than just the scent of your favorite perfume. Over time, hairspray can trap other smells. Think sweat, the humidity, or even lingering perfume from last week. And the worst part? As we get older, the chemicals in the hairspray can interact with our skin and scalp oils, creating a sour, stale scent that lingers far longer than we'd like. And as much as we love our strongholds, hairspray can also leave a sticky residue on the hair that builds up over time. That sticky feeling can make our hair, and us, smell older than we really are. Not to mention, it can start to feel heavy and uncomfortable by the end of the day. First of all, don't panic. There are plenty of alternatives out there. If you love that hairspray hold, look for a more natural, lightweight version. There are hairsprays now that use natural ingredients and won't leave you smelling like a chemical cloud. Or, if you're not attached to the hairspray habit, consider using a texturizing spray or even a good old-fashioned mousse for a more natural hold. And here's a simple trick. When you're using any product on your hair, whether it's hairspray, mousse, or gel, try not to overdo it. Light, controlled sprays are the key. Trust me, you don't want to end up with helmet hair. Less is more, and it'll keep you smelling fresh all day long. So let's all raise our bottles to lighter, fresher choices. And remember, your hair should be as fresh as you feel, not stuck in the past. All right, ladies, if you thought hairspray was your only hair culprit, think again. Let's talk about a product that's probably sitting on your bathroom counter right now. Dry shampoo. I mean, who hasn't relied on this miracle spray at some point? Especially when you're in a rush or your hair just needs a little freshening up? It's a godsend, right? That's what I thought too. But let me tell you, there's a twist to the tale. I'll be honest here. I'm a huge fan of dry shampoo. I use it regularly for those days when I don't have time to wash my hair. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. But here's the thing I didn't realize until recently. Dry shampoo, as wonderful as it is for saving time, can also contribute to that older, musty smell that we're trying to avoid. Let me explain why. Dry shampoo works by absorbing excess oils from your scalp, which is great for keeping your hair looking fresh. But if you use it too often, and I know we all have those days when we think, just one more spritz, it can build up. Over time, this buildup traps oils, sweat, and dead skin cells. The result? That faint, stale odor that lingers and makes your hair smell like it's been days since your last wash. Now, I'm not saying dry shampoo is evil. Far from it. It's still one of the most useful products in our arsenal. But here's the catch. We need to be mindful of how often we use it. Because if you're not washing your hair regularly, those oils and particles will sit there, slowly interacting with the product and creating an unpleasant scent that's a bit hard to shake off. And don't even get me started on the types of dry shampoos that are packed with fragrances. They might smell lovely at first, but after a while that strong scent can mix with your natural oils and start to smell, well, let's just say it's not as fresh as you might have hoped. But don't worry, we're not about to throw dry shampoo out the window. There's an easy fix here. Balance. If you love your dry shampoo, and I totally get it if you do, make sure you're still giving your hair a proper wash from time to time. Your scalp needs to breathe, and that buildup needs to be cleaned out. So consider using dry shampoo on days when you really need it, but not as a replacement for a regular wash. Also, look for dry shampoos that don't leave as much residue. There are some out there that are lighter, less powdery, and won't weigh your hair down. My tip? After applying, try massaging your scalp a little to make sure it's not just sitting there, collecting dust. And if you're not keen on the idea of overloading your hair with too much product, a light touch goes a long way. Here's the bottom line. Dry shampoo is a wonderful tool, but like anything, it needs to be used in moderation. When it's overdone, it can leave behind a smell that makes us feel older than we actually are. So let's use it wisely, wash our hair when needed, and keep that fresh, youthful scent we deserve. Now, let's talk about something that most of us use without giving it a second thought. Hairsprays and gels. These products are staple items in many of our beauty routines, especially when we're trying to keep our hair in place for a big event or a busy day. But what I've come to realize recently is that these products, while great for holding a style, can also leave behind a not-so-pleasant scent. And it's not just any smell. It's the kind that seems to cling to you, reminding you of days spent in a salon waiting for your turn in the chair. I'll be honest, I've been guilty of overspraying a little too often. The thought is always, just a few more spritzes, and my hair will stay put all day. But here's where things get tricky. Hairsprays and gels often contain alcohol, which can dry out your hair and make it less shiny. This drying effect causes your scalp to compensate by producing more oils, which can mix with the product residue. And if you're not washing your hair thoroughly enough after using these products, that residue doesn't just disappear. It sticks around, building up over time. So what happens when this buildup combines with the natural oils and sweat your scalp produces throughout the day? Well, it starts to smell like old hairspray. You know the scent. It's not exactly floral, is it? More like something that's been lingering in the air a bit too long. But here's the kicker. The longer you go without washing your hair, the stronger that smell gets. I realized this when I started noticing that my hair wasn't smelling as fresh as it used to, even though I was using all the usual products. Turns out the hairspray I thought was keeping my hair perfect was actually creating a sticky residue that was making me smell older than I am. Here's what I've learned. Moderation is key. If you can, try to avoid overloading your hair with too much product. Instead, aim for a light touch, enough to hold your style in place, but not so much that it leaves a visible or olfactory trail wherever you go. Another trick I've adopted is to swap out traditional hairsprays for those that are alcohol-free and non-aerosol. These tend to be a bit gentler on the scalp and leave less residue, helping to keep your hair fresh and your scent youthful. And when it comes to gels, I've found that the stickier the gel, the more prone your hair is to collecting unwanted smells. Instead of using a gel with a heavy texture, try using a lighter styling cream or mousse. These products are less likely to weigh your hair down and won't leave behind that stale product-heavy scent. Here's the truth. We all love a good long-lasting hairstyle, but sometimes the products we use to keep our hair in place end up doing the opposite, leaving us with a scent we can't shake. The solution? Lighter, more natural products that do the job without leaving us smelling like we've been doused in lacquer. Trust me, once you start paying attention to the types of products you're using, you'll notice a difference. Your hair will still look fab, but it'll smell so much fresher. All right, ladies, we've talked about dry shampoo, hairsprays, and gels. But there's one more culprit that might be sneaking under your radar: hair dye and shampoo. Now I know, we all love a good color boost. Whether you're covering up, a few grays, or just want to change things up, hair dye can work wonders. But if you've been using the same dye for years, or relying too heavily on strong sulfate-filled shampoos, you might be unintentionally making yourself smell a little older than you really are. Let's start with hair dye. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for a vibrant, well-maintained shade. But here's something I've learned over the years. Those chemicals in hair dye, they don't just change the color of your hair. They also affect the texture. Over time, the strong formulas can cause your hair to become dry and porous, meaning it absorbs more oils and products than it should. When that happens, those oils, combined with the dye chemicals, can start to create a funky, chemically scent that seems to linger no matter how many times you wash your hair. I know it sounds dramatic, but trust me, I've been there. After a fresh dye job, my hair would smell great for the first few days, but by week 2, that scent wasn't so pleasant. It wasn't the fresh floral fragrance I'd hoped for. It was more of a hair dye meets stale oils kind of vibe. And that, my friends, is the last thing you want. So, what's the solution? First off, if you're dyeing your hair regularly, it's crucial to use a sulfate-free shampoo. Sulfates are the ingredients that make your shampoo lather up and clean deeply. But they also strip your hair of natural oils and irritate your scalp. When that happens, your scalp tends to overcompensate by producing more oil, which then mixes with the dye residue and creates that off-putting smell. A sulfate-free shampoo is much gentler and helps preserve both the color and the natural oils, keeping your hair smelling fresher for longer. Next up, make sure you're conditioning your hair properly after dyeing. We tend to focus so much on the dye process itself that we forget to give our hair the care it needs afterwards. A good conditioner, particularly one made for color-treated hair, will help lock in moisture, making your hair less porous and less likely to absorb unwanted odors. Now, here's the little secret I've been using. After dyeing, I incorporate a deep conditioning treatment once a week. This helps replenish any lost moisture and keeps my hair from becoming dry, brittle, and overly oily. Plus, it gives my hair a subtle, natural fragrance that doesn't compete with my perfume, but enhances it. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, but my shampoo smells lovely, so surely that's enough. Here's the thing. While a nice-smelling shampoo can work wonders for your mood, it won't necessarily stop your hair from absorbing oils and chemicals that can cause unwanted odors. It's the combination of all those factors, dye, shampoo, and oils, that can leave you with a scent that's, well, a little too mature for your taste. So, my advice, keep up with your regular hair care routine, but be mindful of the products you're using. Opt for milder, more natural formulations that won't strip your hair or overwhelm your senses. Your hair should complement your overall scent, not overpower it with something that smells, well, like you've been around for a while. If you want more tips on staying your freshest and most fabulous self, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and comment below with your own beauty secrets.